And look, I'm gonna keep it 100. When it comes to stories like this, it's very hard for me to do because I get a kind of anger that's undescribable, especially when I watch the video and I see the parents crying, especially when I see the person that did this to the black babies, to the black kids, and how they harm the black family in these hospitals. Because when it comes to our people, a lot of times we go to the doctor and we put a lot of trust into these nurses. We put a lot of trust into these doctors and we think that they have our best interests at heart. But a lot of times these people don't even like black people. And you can go down my timeline. I did multiple videos about hospitals unaliving pregnant women, hospitals when black women go into labor, how they do black women, how they do black families, and they always get away with it. And I'm gonna say it's not all nurses that do this, because you have a lot of nurses that care about their profession. You have a lot of nurses that actually care about people. They care about black babies. But we have to talk about this because it's a lot of them that don't. It's a lot of them that's racist towards our people. And we have to keep exposing them because, like I always say, if you do something bad, it's going to be blasted all over the news. They're not letting you get away with it. They go tell your whole family. Your future family go know about it. Everybody is going to know about it. They're going to put it on every social media outlet. So when it comes to them, we have to keep the same energy. But in this video, I want to show y'all how the hospital knew what was going on. But when this woman got arrested, they wanted to act like they didn't know. But the whole time they knew. So let's get right into this story. And this hospital is in Henrico, Virginia. The article is from the Washington Post. It was published yesterday at 5:29 p.m. Virginia nurse arrested after babies in NICU suffer unexplained injuries. And I don't know whether the term is NICU or NICU. I don't know what they say, but I'm going to just say NICU. The nurse who worked for the hospital has been charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. Now, look, I want you to put yourself in this family's shoes. Well, and it was multiple families. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine having a kid that was already born too early. And then you get them in NICU and you got a nurse that's doing this on purpose. She's breaking their noses on purpose. She's breaking their legs on purpose. She's harming them on purpose. They better be lucky that a lot of these people didn't crash out. That's why I say don't just go into the hospitals and just trust in these people. No, they got all your information. You should have all their information. This your main doctor. This the main nurse that's dealing with your kids. You should know where they live at. You should know their kids. You should know their parents. You should know where they went to school at. You should know where they grew up at. You should know everything about them the same way they know everything about you, because a lot of times they're not going to play with you if you know who their kids are. If you know who their parents are, they not gonna play with you. If you know who their husband or wife is, they go think about it twice. The Virginia hospital first noticed newborns would suffer mysterious injuries in the summer of 2023. Then roughly a month ago, 3 babies in Neanderthal intensive care unit experienced unexplainable fractures from the Henrico Doctors Hospital. So I want y'all to sit back and think. Imagine the stories we haven't heard of. Imagine the stories across the country of nurses and doctors harming babies, black babies, and getting away with it. We haven't really heard about this as much as we should. It's going on across the country. They just don't talk about it. Or they'll probably pay the family under the table to keep it under wraps. Just imagine how much this is going on. So this is why I make these videos. This is why these hospitals, these nurses, they have to continue being exposed, because a lot of times they get away with this and they go try to get her scot-free because she's Caucasian and she did this to multiple black families, multiple black babies. And they don't really give a damn, especially in Virginia. They don't give a damn about black people. So they go try to get her off easily. That's why we have to stay with that same energy they give us when we get in trouble. The hospital grew so concerned that last week it announced it would stop admitting babies into the NICU until they discovered what was breaking their bones. Now, a registered nurse has been arrested and charged with malicious wounding and felony abuse. So you had a nurse, you telling me you had a nurse in your hospital that was purposely breaking babies' bones, breaking their nose bones, breaking their legs, breaking their ankles, breaking their wrists, and you didn't know who was doing it, I'm telling you, this hospital knew who exactly was doing it. The same way these doctors, these hospitals make black women get C-sections, and they don't tell them that these hospitals get paid more when they make you have a C-section. Check this out. Hospital costs for babies in the NICU can increase if the baby is injured or has complications. The cost of a NICU stay can vary depending on the length of the stay and the type of treatments required. A recent study found that the average NICU stay costs about $4,969, but for 1 in 11 families, the cost will exceed $10,000. So you think this was a coincidence? You think these hospitals didn't know? They knew. They was injuring these babies on purpose, so these babies have to stay and they get paid more money. That's it. Henrico County Police announced Friday that Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman, 26, was arrested in connection with an incident that occurred in November. Police said in a news release that they have reopened all the cases reported mysteriously injured babies at the hospital from 2023 and 2024. So you telling me mysteriously in the hospital that babies were getting injured for 2 years and you knew nothing about it? I'm gonna tell you something. If these babies were Caucasian, trust me, they would know something about it. It took you 2 years to find out what nurse was doing it. And the only reason they got caught was because of this man right here, Dominique Hackey. He had twins. And they did the same thing to his twins. But he went home and showed his mother. You know, him and his wife had twins. But he went home and showed his mother, who is a former nurse. And she told him, no, something is wrong. Hackey described that time as among the most difficult in his life, even before he suspected that one of his sons was being abused. He and his wife had endured 2 miscarriages and now were watching one of their young sons fight for his life. Their other son, Noah, who was seemingly making a strong recovery, but in September 2023, a nurse informed them that Noah had a fractured leg. Though the cause remained unclear, it was very confusing time because you bring one of my babies back to life, then you abuse my other baby, Hackey said. How am I supposed to feel? See, look, if you ever had a family member that went through, having a stillborn, miscarriage, my brother, him and his wife, they had a stillborn. And I'm going to keep it 100. I don't think my brother ever been the same after that. He got a son now. He got a son like right after that. But still, I think once you go through that, it makes you stronger in a way, especially as a couple. But I feel like you're not the same anymore. And I don't know if I can ever go through that. I don't know if I can ever take that type of pain. So just imagine them having 2 miscarriages. And then you have to go through this with your twin sons. And that's why I say they lucky this man didn't crash out, because a lot of men would have just crashed out once they found out a nurse was doing this to their kids. But like I say, he went home and he showed his mother, the x-ray and stuff like that. And his mom, being a former nurse, she was like, no, this is not right. So the mom reported them. So the nurse got arrested or suspended in 2023. Guess what the hospital did? In 2024, they brought her back. So while they trying to act like they didn't know this was going on, they knew the whole time, because the nurse said she was still getting paid when they let her go. When they let her go, the hospital was still paying her. So like I tell you, a lot of these hospitals, they tell certain nurses to do certain things and they'll pay them, more money. And they thought they was going to get away with it. But thank God, bro, for this dude's mother for being a former nurse. And she called it out. So that's why a lot of times, if something don't seem right, question it. Because like I said earlier, you cannot put your trust in these doctors. You cannot put your trust in these nurses, because when it comes to black families, when it comes to black people in general, black babies, they don't want to see us prosper. They don't like, this is a form of racism. When you have hospitals that can affect a group of people, this is real racism. And look, like I always talk about, it don't stop there. Check this out. The maternal mortality rate for black women in Virginia is higher than the rate for white women. In Virginia, the maternal mortality rate for black women is 47.2 deaths per 100,000 pregnancies, which is more than twice the rate for white women, which is 18.1. So you telling me that's a coincidence? 42.1 to 18? You telling me they not doing this stuff on purpose? All this stuff is purposely done. And they say this nurse did this to over 10 kids, over 10 families. She been doing this. And who's to say it just started in 2023? Like I say, that's what they tell us. They'll never tell us the real number. They'll never tell us how long she been getting away with this and how long they knew about it. So when you go to the doctors, always know everything about your doctor. Always know everything about your nurses. Don't just let them feel like they can do anything with you and get away with it, because we're not doing that in 2025. So shout out to that family for recovering and what they going through. I'm out.